What's up? It's me, Don Tolliver. If I could describe the open earbud, I would describe it as very seamless. It's like you clip it onto your ear, and then sometimes you can forget it's there, but it's not going anywhere because it's like clipped. It's kind of crazy. If I could bring my music with me wherever I go, it'd just make life easier and seamless without interruption. To be able to have the music on hand like that without any interruptions would be great. Check out Bose.com for more.
Everything you learned in history class was a lie. Well, maybe not everything, but they skipped the best parts. Introducing Stupiracy, where stupidity meets conspiracy. Ever heard of the Olympic marathon that nearly killed its runners? Or the time a pope put another pope's corpse on trial? Join me, Scott Rizzuto, and Tim McKernan as we uncover the most outrageous historical moments and mind-blowing conspiracies you won't believe actually happened. Tune into Stupiracy for your weekly dose of historical absurdity. Available wherever you get your podcasts. Remember, history is dumb, but laughing at it is smart.
I'm rolling.
Let's make it classy.
Yeah. Keep it classy, Minnesota. That's staying in.
Speaking of rent control, I'm hearing that the St. Thomas, and you guys have probably heard this too, is going to build a hockey rink and a softball field and some other stuff over at the Ford site. Is there room over there?
Well,
That's
boy, I don't know.
in the back.
well, construction there has paused.
Yes, I know it has because of the
Well, that was never
rent
part of the
control.
original plan.
Rent control, but is there room over there that
Well,
is
right
not
now-
yet spoken for?
That's what I don't know. But right now, there's nothing but a big field of dirt.
That's the hot rumor that St. Thomas is they got to build a hockey rink, and they need a softball field too.
Well, they have a
the softball
relationship
field
with
is-
St. Thomas.
Yeah,
The
that-
Ryan companies.
Oh,
Ryan companies
really?
do.
Yeah.
There's
Okay, so maybe that I would imagine if I'm a resident, if they ever have a residency now, that I would want that somewhere over where the traffic's not going to be a pain in the ass when they come to go
maybe
to
behind the old
somewhere. I
Ford
don't know. Somewhere over
I
there.
think one Little League field is being kept.
Yes.
Okay, well, is there some fields back in
Yes.
there? Is there some open room on
There's some-
back
yeah,
in there?
there's
where they
some
can-
old-
But that was never the part of the
Rail
plan that I'm
yard.
aware of.
No, I think it just popped up in the last
Maybe
year.
that will go where the affordable housing was supposed
going
to go.
Yes, that's true. That's true. It is, it's...
What a gift to have for a city, and to screw it up by whatever you're going. I mean,
Melvin never thought of the fact that...
He never listens to other people.
Yeah, he never thought of the fact that maybe this would have some impact on the developers.
Right.
That never occurred
but
to
it would
him.
also be seriously, to have that oasis would be a destination for people, which that would be something that you could pride yourselves on, because people would come to look at it to see, how do we get that?
Yes.
And if they freeze that little canal in the winter,
Oh.
your fantasy of skating up and
Skating around the
Yes.
village.
Well, I will admit this. It's that 25% of my people are hard to handle at times. It's hard. Some of their ideas are a little beyond mine, but then of
What was
course
the percentage? 25?
25%.
Okay.
But then
we're getting
About
closer.
75%.
then I can look at a Trump rally and say, these toothless morons, and
They got her.
Pat,
so
No.
then, it's tough, man. It's tough.
give me my
being-
board here.
It's tough being.
Oh,
a,
I'm sorry.
It's
Yes.
tough being a reasonable lefty. A reasonable lefty is not easy. I like that somebody like Ryan Construction can build a great big project there, and people can make a reasonable return on it. I think that's a good idea.
I noticed something about Kirk Cousins yesterday. Being
What's
the
that?
football expert that I am.
Yes, you are. You covered the Vikings.
In the first quarter, twice the television, when Kirk threw a 7-yard pass, twice television cameras caught lonely Vikings 30 yards farther down the field. Mm-hmm. Nobody around.
How about the pressure he was feeling? Was there anybody near him when he threw
which
those?
is why he gets rid of it so quick.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He's worried about being hit.
Yesterday they gave him pretty good protection, though, I thought.
They did.
Yeah, and that helps.
And he had a nice drive.
He gets flinchy when somebody's around him, but they played good. They played really good.
I think Andre Patterson and Mike Zimmer won them that ball game yesterday. That was impressive what they did.
Defense was good.
Yeah.
And going on fourth, everybody's excited about 4th and 2, and I got to go along with that.
Yep.
Win the game. You only got to make 2 yards. Win the game.
Win the game.
That's why you got Dalvin Cook on your team, so he can run and make 2 yards.
When he's right, by the way, when he's healthy, Eric Kendricks is their best player.
Yes, he is.
He is a damn good football player.
Yes, he is. He's really good. And he's mostly been healthy.
He's got the good hair, too. He's got really good hair.
Yeah,
This puts him right back in the hunt, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. And really a nice guy, too. Really good guy. High-class guy. And Barr didn't play, right?
Nope.
Harrison Smith didn't play.
Danielle
Hunter's not
out.
playing.
Pierce is on the IR, most likely out for the season.
That was a pretty good defensive performance.
Yep.
And some of these rookies that they were waiting for, these younger guys that they were waiting for and didn't look like they're ever going to play, they've been just as good with Bynum in the back end.
I was just
going
to point out,
Harrison Smith.
He might have been a gem of a find because wasn't he a 6th or 7th round pick?
Yes, and who's this guy, Wixie or whatever his
Willix.
name is? Willix.
Yeah.
Is he a drafty?
Yeah, he was a 7th rounder from Michigan State. Is that right?
Okay,
I'll look
he's
him up.
okay too. They're Joe.
Now you got Green Bay.
You got 8 games left. Well, Green Bay looked terrible offensively yesterday against a terrible Seattle defense.
Hit them when they're down.
Get them where they're down, although their defense is really good, Green Bay's. But
some Vikings fan, by the way, tweeted out after the Packer had, because it looked like the Packers might have a chance to lose the game, and some Viking fan said, "Hey, I've got COVID. Where's the meet and greet with Aaron Rodgers?" or something like that, so that he'd be out for the game next week.
And Joe, after the Green Bay game, they got 3 left with the Bears and the Lions. Mm-hmm. Can't lose any of those, and don't give me this stuff. They never win in Soldier Field.
They did last year.
Bears are horrible.
Yeah.
And then they got other easy. The schedule gets really easy.
They go to San Francisco right after Green Bay.
San Francisco's playing terrible.
Yep.
They're 9 and 8 will get you the last playoff spot probably. Won't you think?
They do have to play the Rams at the Ziggy Dome. And I thought there was another tough road game, but I can't remember exactly.
Boy, the Rams have become the new Raiders, haven't they?
Yeah.
The old Oakland. If you're a reprobate and somebody cuts you, come on out.
Come on in, we'll sign you.
Odell Jr. Of course, Odell Odell's mama and I are tight, man. Heather
that's
Van
right.
Norman, and I think she should have grabbed him by the ear once in a while when he was a kid. Don't you?
He's getting away with too much,
give
isn't
him
he?
that little
give him a flick.
Give him a little flick in the ear more often.
brat.
Yeah, you come over here, you little brat. Just the parents being too nice to their kids. That's
What's wrong with your Gophers?
They played a better team. That was their problem.
They didn't.
Iowa's better than the Gophers.
407 yards to 277. You had the ball for 40 minutes. They had it for 20. You had 23 first downs instead of 12. It was culture that won the game for Iowa. Culture. Sometimes, the Gophers had all the skill, but Iowa had the culture, and that's what the difference was in that game. No doubt about it. Culture.
Now he's lost 2 since he signed that extraordinary extension.
Yes, and since he beat Nebraska and said this was a victory for culture over skill.
Right.
Culture over skill. Culture.
You know what PJ knows about signing a contract extension? He got it from Grandpa
Timing.
Red. Timing.
Timing is everything.
Yep.
Timing is
Damn right.
everything. Yes. Well, I don't know. He's it's funny for this hip guy that with his tight short pants and the whole vibe and with the suit that looks like Pinky Lee, that's a Soupy Sales. He looks like Soupy Sales in his suit, and he's up there for this hipster. He sure is a Boras as a coach, man.
Yeah.
You go right down the field. You're 4th and 2. you're going to seize the moment and you kick a field goal.
I know. It drives me nuts.
So what if they stop you? They're on the 1.
Yeah.
I'd rather have a team on the 1 than 3 points.
Me too.
Wouldn't you?
Yes.
Yep.
Especially Iowa, who's not going to throw it out of the end zone. They're going to punt it right back to you.
Did you see the Chiefs last night pull the fake punt? It
I
was
didn't
great.
see that play.
Yeah. Fourth down,
no,
they're back. The punter's back to punt. Whew, first down, he throws it.
Okay, yeah, you.
So
see
the
that
Vikings
once in a
almost
while.
attempt that, but they got stopped right in the
What
middle of
was
the,
that?
I don't. The ref
lucky,
had not
by the way.
officially blew the.
Well, they're lucky
Okay.
because the guy was going to get stuffed, don't you think?
Probably.
I don't think he was going to make it. Although the way the Chargers tackle, he might have, because they're not a fine tackling outfit.
Right.
The tackling is not sharp. The fact that teams don't hit anymore probably has a lot to do with the decline of tackling.
Did we jump up in the rankings? We were the fourth most penalized team, but after yesterday's game, the Vikings were.
They had 10 yesterday, right?
I believe so, and there was a stat prior to that saying we were the fourth most penalized team. That's got to be higher now.
And there's only one reason for that: the league's out to get us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know why you're here?
The target
You're
on our
here to
back.
screw
Bleep us.
But it is amazing when you watch NFL games, Joe. Last night, I think this Vinovich was refereeing, right?
Yes.
And his crew calls 8 penalties a game, right?
Yeah.
They call 4 on each team, and let them play,
Mm-hmm.
generally speaking. Whoever this young punk doing the Viking game was, you see that guy get ready for a long day, because any play that you see made, there's a 50-50 chance that one of those idiots threw a flag. The NFL drives me nuts with the fact that
Well, that's just it.
they have a philosophy of, when in doubt, throw the flag,
For all of
instead of
the-
when in doubt, don't throw the flag.
For all of the hue and cry from sports fans about baseball and robot umps, are you kidding me? They're a well-oiled machine compared to NFL officiating. It's a joke.
Well,
Because they throw too
they
many
remain
flags.
to be amateurs. They're not pros. They're real estate agents and dentists, and it was always Bud's complete moaning about that. He wanted professional referees.
Yes, Bud did want them all, and with the amount of money the league's making, that'd be, the league though loves being able to announce it. He's a doctor from such that they have all these intellects and stuff, but they should just have a different philosophy. And whatever you do, never say something's a point of emphasis, because then these morons are going to go out of their way to call it, to say, okay, we're helping you.
NFL officiating jumped the shark officially, at least for me. Who's the, is it Gene Sarator, the guy that's now
Yes.
doing TV?
Yeah.
When he brought out the index card, remember that? And
Yeah,
put it
to see
between
it.
the
Oh,
football
yeah.
and the first down marker to
Yeah.
make sure he got it. He only did it for theatrical
Oh, sure.
reasons for
Yeah.
national television.
Big Ten basketball ref forever.
That's right.
You know?
That's right.
Big Ten, he was. Yeah, I think he's probably a full-time referee, because he was doing 90 basketball games a year plus the NFL.
Now he's a TV star.
Yes,
Oh, we got to go to our rules expert.
Gene Saratori?
Yes.
yes. I was saying, what was I saying? I was saying baseball needs one of those guys for the world. One of those ump guys. Did they get it right here? Oh yeah, hell yes. They got
What
it
are the
right.
Gophers doing? Playing themselves into the oil change bowl or
Yes,
something?
if they they can't lose to Indiana. Indiana last year, they have this crazy coach who was an older version of Fleck, just completely insane. Firing up teams and everybody. Oh, this is the guy. He got the job because they fired somebody, and they were 8-1 or something.
Yeah, they were in contention to win
7-2, something like that, and they were rated in the top 12 coming into this season. They're 0-8, 0-7 in the Big Ten, and Saturday they got beat
45-3
by
by Rutgers.
at home. So the Indiana season, as our guy Phil likes to refer to each game as the Iowa. This is our Iowa season. This is our Wisconsin. This is our season. This is Indiana season, and I don't think you can lose down there if you wanted to.
I forgot who put this out there, but someone had said, "Boy, he's lost 5 straight Iowa seasons. This isn't good."
He's lost 5 straight. We've lost 7 straight Iowa seasons. That's right.
What were you telling me about Mickelson before the show? How many senior events has he been in?
He's played 6 and he's won 4.
Isn't that something?
Yeah. He's got a little more game left than those boys.
There's that guy called the Club Pro.
Yes.
He does these videos where he's imagining himself to be a pro at a private country club.
Now, somebody's been sending me those, and I haven't watched them.
They're hilarious.
They're pretty good.
Were.
Well, I was sent one we're going to play where the Club Pro is channeling
Denny Green.
Green.
Okay.
So imagine the Club Pro. They got
They just had their club
backdrop.
championship, and he didn't win.
Okay.
And now he's going to give remarks to the press.
Okay.
Okay, what happened out there was I got my ass kicked. I got my ass totally kicked. I couldn't do diddly poo. I couldn't make a putt. I couldn't hit a fairway. I think I hit 2 greens. I sucked. I couldn't chip. I got put on the clock. I totally got my ass kicked in every phase of the game. And that's what it boiled down to. Questions? Stan Perry is who I thought he was. I played with him earlier this year. Stan is who I thought he was. Now, if you want to crown him, go ahead and crown his ass. But Stan is who I thought he was, and I let him off the hook. You guys have no idea what it takes to win in this league. Vikram Katre hits a monster bucket every day while I'm in the office dotting scorecards and giving lessons to stupid kids.
Dotting scorecard.
Jerry Brownlow bought a year-long lesson package at Golf Tech. Meanwhile, I sit here every night waiting for the last 2 carts to come in. How am I supposed to compete if I can't work on my game? And then when I do get on the golf course, the ladies' tees are a full 15 yards ahead of the whites. The women are out there cutting dog legs at will. It's like a bomber's paradise out there. I'm a single-digit player, and I'm handing out strokes like they're candy. You get a stroke. You get a stroke. You get a stroke. I'm out there getting 6 net 5 to death. And you ask me, what's wrong with my game?
Oh, God. This guy's
Maybe you guys should put down your tape recorders and sign up for league next year.
It's going after the press
This
now.
is real life.
I think.
I get.
Oh, that's right. I got to cut it off there because that's when he drops a.
He
drops an S-bomb. But
S-bomb.
The nice thing is he has subtitles with it, so I know when it's coming.
Does he? So is he a pro?
I think he's
comedian?
just a character.
Is he a pro
Yes.
comedian?
Well, the
Okay.
best part though, Pat, is he's got the
should see his uniform.
He's got the golf shirt on like a lot of these guys do, except he's got 6 different ads right here.
And one of them says for rent.
Well, he's probably getting paid to show up at clubs and throw in the names of guys who were in the club and stuff like that.
Guaranteed. It's a
probably.
brilliant bit.
Yeah.
So
I'll
just
have
look
to
up
start
Club
watching.
Pro Guy on Twitter.
Club Pro Guy.
That is pretty good.
What was the first one someone sent us?
Well,
that we played.
He thought that a word was heard on the on the green
that resembled a word.
That resembled a word that's offensive, and we can't have that. So he had to kick that guy out of the club.
Way to lag it?
Yeah, he said, way to lag it.
Way to lag it.
And so they had to throw him out there because someone thought he had said something else.
Yeah. So, Judd and I were talking a little about this. So what do you think of the hockey guys, the general managers and team presidents and stuff, who are getting fired, not for making any sexual innuendos to the staff, but for just yelling at them and telling them they're doing a lousy job? Murray down in Arizona, Anaheim being
I didn't know that. I thought there were allegations.
Allegations of abusive
workplace environment.
Workplace environment.
But all they're doing is telling them they're not any good?
Yes.
Well, you got to be able to tell them that.
Rook and I would have been fired years ago.
Especially in hockey.
My God.
They got a hotline now. You want to, if you're like working in an office, now he might yell at a secretary, but he's not calling her sexist names.
Right.
He's just telling her she's doing her
What
job
about the
lousy.
Chicago
I'm not saying
situation?
you.
No, that's different. That
Yeah.
was covering up the apparently what was he? Some kind of an intern was molesting a player, right, or
Something like that. Yeah.
which, I don't know why the hockey player didn't hit him with a stick if he
Right,
didn't want to be involved in it. But anyway, that was different. That's different. And Quinneville, who was doing wonders with the Panthers, knew about it and didn't do anything about it.
Now, did he get
That's
fired?
why he's getting fired. He's getting fired for something that
Because the Panthers are in
11 or
first
12
place.
years. Well, they hadn't lost. They were 7-0 when he got fired.
Yeah.
He quit basically because well, here's his problem, and he was asked about it in 2020 and said he didn't know anything about it, but he did know something about it. So
Also,
10 years
it's the
earlier.
cover-up, not the crime, essentially.
Yes,
is why he's getting-
that's the whole thing. But Murray and which one is it? Bob Murray? It was Bob Murray that got fired in Anaheim. It was just for calling, for telling everybody their horse bleep.
Well, that's
right?
hockey. You're supposed to be able to
you
do
gotta
I
that.
wonder
motivate
how,
him.
wonder
So
how long
motivate him.
Ren Blair would have lasted in '67.
Not long.
Bob Murray, he got fired. He'd been there forever. And meanwhile, the Ducks have not yet lost. Apparently, they don't feel the pressure now of having Bob come
Boy,
in the locker room.
I'm
and
now
tell 'em
thinking
how-
about this. Earl Weaver and Bill Haller. Earl would have been fired 6 times just from that
Yeah,
one
but that
trip.
was for abusing the umpires. I don't know. This is the help at the
That's
office.
true. Yeah,
the
that's
office
true.
help. So
You're here for one reason.
hockey, Herbie. I was saying today, Herbie wouldn't have made it to the gold medal game.
No.
If we had a hotline for somebody to call.
You know what Herbie was? Candid.
Yes, he was. He was extremely candid, and he was candid with me a couple of times,
Was he?
which I found very humorous. But he was candid. He
was
could be
candid with me many times.
He was candid. Yes, he would be candid. He was not. He was not like Mock to say. He's ours and we're not trading him.
Who in the
when
hell
you
do the
asked him about-
Panthers have? They're 10-2.
Yes, and you know who else is great? The two best teams in the NHL right now? Them and the Carolina Hurricanes.
Oh, boy.
Have they
They're
lost yet?
11-2.
Yeah, they hadn't lost. They were like 10 games in, they hadn't lost.
Carolina.
Meanwhile, look proudly at those standings and see where our Wild are.
They're in first place.
Right there in first.
First place.
Although,
They might only lose 4
10 and
games
4.
in a year.
unforgivable loss in Vegas, though. 2 5-on-3s.
Yeah.
And they don't score a goal. And
don't-
one
I
of them
don't accept
lasted damn near the whole 2 minutes.
I don't accept that.
No, you got to get a goal.
Yes.
You got to get a goal. You should have gotten because if they go into overtime, they're automatic winners, right?
Boy, my Montreals aren't doing well.
And last year, weren't they in the finals? Did they make the finals last year? Semifinals.
Who?
Montreal had a
Les Habitants.
playoff
Yeah,
run
yeah,
last
yeah.
year.
Les Habitants, oui.
But the goalies, Carey Price's alcohol treatment. Or
really?
drug treatment or some kind of treatment, yeah.
Oh, no.
So that's made a big difference to them because he was a fine netminder,
Hot goalie?
hot goalie.
That's all you need.
Hot goalie.
Hot goal.
We took down the Kraken, though, over the weekend.
Yep, the crackheads are in a slump, man. The
Yeah.
crackheads are lost.
I didn't get a
Wait,
chance to
Vic,
see much of it.
Let's
Is that
find out if Seattle holds their enthusiasm or if it just kind of flops like a...
They're a trendy town, man, and that
Okay.
those don't worry about the Lywicki boys. They'll keep them coming
Is it
for
a-
about 5 years.
is that a cool arena, by the way?
What's the climate change arena?
Is that what it's called?
Something like that.
Yeah, climate. something.
I haven't seen it.
Okay.
Well, they kept the roof. They built $1 billion arena under the old roof because the roof is historic of some kind.
oh, really?
The old arena roof. They preserved that. They say that only cost an extra $15 million, but I don't
What
know
are you going to do?
how they did it. But yeah, Seattle will be good for a few years.
Is the Vegas football stadium on the Strip?
It's right on the freeway across the street, across the freeway from the strip.
Okay, where's the hockey arena?
That I don't know.
I think
the
that's
T-Mobile,
on the Strip.
I think that's downtown. Yes,
Yeah, I don't know.
believe
I haven't
so.
been out there in 10 years.
I drove
don't
by
know.
it the football arena this past spring. Here, let me look it up. Where
I
they,
did last when it was being built.
And that's one where they bring the grass in and out.
Yes, but what's funny is the college team plays there.
Right.
They
On
play
artificial
on the turf.
Yeah.
They only bring in the grass for the NFL games. But I saw a lot of divots coming out of that grass
So did I.
Oh, it's
last night.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that that's such a great idea.
T-Mobile Arena is right next to the Cosmopolitan and across the
That's
street
it.
from Planet Hollywood.
Cosmopolitan got built since I was there.
I think they redid it though, because I know that's one of the hot spots from the
really?
youngins that go out to Vegas for a weekend.
Well, over on the other side of the freeway, isn't that the Rio? Didn't the Rio used to be out there where a lot of the youth used to go?
Are any of the classics still in business? You know, the Desert Inn and the
Not
Sands.
on the Strip. I don't know if any of those are still on. Downtown, I think the Golden Nugget's still there.
You consider the MGM Grand?
Yeah, that's new compared to
That's
the old.
new, right.
Yeah,
when the
there
Rat
was only
Pack
5
played.
of them.
Sands is gone.
Yeah.
Let me just tell you.
The original is the Flamingo, Sahara,
Desert Inn.
Desert Inn. What else? Did you mention a couple already?
Yeah, the Sahara looks like it's. I'm looking at the Strip right now. The Sahara is still there.
Oh, the Sahara's got. I wonder if it can't be the original, but
Probably
that
not.
is where you saw the ladies who liked to smoke cigarettes and were 80 years old playing the penny slots. They used to have penny slots. They'd sit there for 12 hours
Oh, God. I
pounding
hate
the
that.
heaters. And
Can't stand it. Gives me an anxiety attack.
on one of my cheaper trips to Vegas to cover a fight, I think I stayed at the Sahara. Because
You know, the name the Desert Inn doesn't sound like a place that you would stay.
oh, but that
It was cool.
But I know it's cool. But just
Well, I never
if
stayed
you're,
there.
if you're opening a book or
Well,
you're
they-
opening like the Desert Inn doesn't really.
Caesars was like the first real modern one.
That's the only place I've stayed there is Caesars.
Caesars is still great, but what's the amazing difference in Vegas, and as I said, I haven't been there 10 years. It used to be the worst restaurant town in America. It was just $2 buffets. Now they got every high-priced restaurant
That's
there
true.
is.
Where did Brett have his incident? At what hotel in Vegas? I don't want to hear it again, but when
Brett?
George
Oh,
Brett.
Brett.
Oh,
That was at the
Caesars?
Caesars because I think he was at the.
I'll listen to it in queue.
He was at
No,
Joe's.
you don't have to.
He was at Joe's Stone Crabs, which is it's down on the basement level next to Caesars. I've eaten there a couple of times.
Well,
He
I'm
was at
never eaten
Joe's.
there.
He was at
Have
Joe's.
they marked that
Went out
spot?
and had a great meal.
Okay,
just a
Reavers.
Have they marked that spot where this is where the legendary George Brett had his incident, like the Harmon Killebrew plate?
I still want to know how somebody got the tape of that.
And I want to know why the last line is the funniest. Who's pitching today?
Kokomo's.
That's like Burnsies. The whole tirade, the best line is the walk-off.
Bleepers.
Bleepers. But in a soft voice, like nobody
By the
was
way,
going to hear it.
I got to the point in the song, but he was at Kokomo's. That's what he. That's the place he mentioned. We were going to Kokomo's.
You know what I said when I found out that somebody had absconded with 417,000 of my American Express rewards points?
What did you say?
Bleepers.
Bleepers.
underneath my voice.
I want to know, after watching that video, the kid that he was giving the speech to,
Yeah.
did he retire right then, or did he play another
Well,
couple
it
of years?
ruined
Was
the
he
kid's life.
inspired? Was he inspired? Is what I want to know.
Here's the one of the greatest hitters.
His problem was when, hey, what were you and George talking about?
He wanted to know who was pitching tonight.
yeah, right.
You know, his reality was shattered the way mine was when Sid asked me how to spell music.
Yes, right.
It's gone.
Hey, horse's ass.
How do you spell music? Not a K or two C's.
Baseball was filled with that kind of stuff at one time, just crazy.
I have so warmed up to your theory. No one with a college degree can work in baseball.
Yes, right.
Maybe a player, but nobody in the front office.
Well, at least especially Eastern prominent, Mankato.
Ivy League.
Mankato guys, Reavers can work in baseball. The Mankato
you.
State degree.
Thank you.
yes.
Make an exception for you.
By the way, speaking of Sid, do you guys follow Minnesota on Twitter?
No.
He's a great follow. He always pulls up old clips from the newspaper. You guys have been featured a couple of times, but on this day in Minnesota sports history, 1965, a day after Colts backup Gary Kuzo throws 5 touchdowns in a 41-21 win over the Purple. Vikings coach Norm Van Brocklin unexpectedly quits, and the picture is young Sidney with his fresh haircut there, right underneath the headline.
That was one of the most instructive moments of what I did not know would be a journalism career at the time, but I was a copy boy. That day that happened. And Charlie Johnson, executive sports editor, grumpy old guy, and Sid, I was in the back where you answer phone calls.
Yep.
And Sid and Charlie are discussing Van Brocklin and what a no-good scumbag he was and how neither of them could stand him. But they were both very fearful that he would return. They predicted this. But I listened to him MF Van Brocklin for 10 minutes, and then they both wrote columns asking him to come back.
Wow.
And that showed me.
What a business.
That showed me. I'm not. If I ever end up doing this,
I am playing it straight.
I might not write what I really think, but I'm not going to write what I really don't think. You know.
Right.
I mean, there's going to be a middle area there. It was unbelievable. They went on they hated him, and then they both wrote columns begging him. But you know what happened in St. Paul? Bill Bonai was the sports editor then in '65, and he wrote the afternoon column.
Yep.
And they pulled it.
Oh, really?
Because it was a hatchet job he wrote candidly about what a bad guy Van Brocklin was. Oh, wow. But Bernie was the owner.
Yeah, Bernie had a piece of the Vikings.
And it must have been announced sometime that morning that he was coming back, and they pulled it.
Bernie Ritter,
And
I've
there
not
was
heard
something,
that name forever.
and they had a little notice in there. You have to look it up, but it said there was a fine piece of journalism in there that no longer applicable or something like that, and they didn't run it.
Whatever happened to Parr?
Oh, that fruitcake.
Whatever happened to good old Parr? I hope he landed on his feet.
After Parr left St. Paul, we had him trying to ruin the Star Tribune.
Yeah, because he stole all the sales info from St. Paul
That's
and brought it
right.
to Minneapolis.
You're right.
The ads and
There
stuff.
was a suit, right?
Allegedly.
There was a
Allegedly.
suit,
Yeah, we don't
wasn't
know for
there?
Yeah.
That was for who, though? That was for the hedge fund group?
I don't know.
What?
The one that was going to disavow him?
How many ledgers and crates would what would his pile be, Parr's Ritter, if he was stealing the St. Paul Pioneer Press ad sales, today?
Here's what I want to know.
Three pieces of paper?
No, here. Right here.
Got it right there in your hand. Okay.
Here's what I want to know. How can you walk around life being called Parr?
Can't.
That's what I
Couldn't do
want.
it.
You know,
Couldn't do
you got whatever your middle name is. That's what you.
That's
gotta
why
go
he
with.
was a jerk.
Yeah, Parr. Yeah.
Parr. Yeah, if you're Parr Ritter, you just know it's ahoy polloi.
I don't think he even lives in the Twin Cities anymore.
I gotta look it up.
I don't know.
Yeah, because
Somerset guy.
he couldn't have lasted more than 3 months at the Trib, could he?
No, he didn't last long there.
No, and he didn't last long in St. Paul either. So.
Parr Ritter, General Manager, Chicago Tribune Media Group.
Oh,
He's on
really?
LinkedIn.
Really?
Okay, so
General
he's in on
manager.
the
We're
hedge-
not working there.
He's in on the hedge.
No,
fund.
now you got to pull the Sid. Oh, no, I thought he's great.
He's coming
he's
back.
Good guy. Yeah, I
He's in
really
on
loved him.
He's in on the hedge fund.
It's the Alden Capital.
Yeah,
They own the Pioneer Press and have
okay.
ruined it. Now they're going to ruin the Tribune.
They're disemboweled. Well, they already, but the whole chain, Orlando and those papers, they basically disembowel them. Now I would have to check this to be true, but somebody told me the Chicago Tribune now has 6 sports writers. Chip Scoggins worked there 20 years ago, and they had 6 prep sports writers.
Right.
Wow.
And like a 40-person staff.
Well, all the good Tribune guys left. John Cass left.
Yeah, well, they all bailed here this last time when they sold to these guys.
Right.
What's the name of them?
Alden Capital.
Was Digital Media.
Digital
one.
First.
Okay, and now it's okay. Yeah, they
Media News Group.
hang in there, Glenn Taylor. That's all I got to say.
You have
guys
no
can
idea how
complain.
lucky you are.
You guys can complain about him as a Timberwolves owner, but he is a
Hell of a newspaper.
he
owner.
is a shining light in the newspaper ownership business. So
Does he ever have he doesn't have any role whatsoever, does he?
his
daughter's
daughter's
the
on the
publisher?
board, but I heard she left the board, so I don't know.
But he's never there, is he?
No, I don't. If he deals with anybody, it's Klingensmith, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So who's a really bright guy. He's a good guy.
Speaking of 20 years ago,
Yo.
I just saw this because I was looking up that sports clip. We settled our contraction issue with Major League Baseball and the Minnesota
today?
Twins.
When?
On this date 20 years ago.
Really?
Remember that whole fiasco?
Oh, sure.
My goodness.
I was there for the meeting in Chicago when they announced
Were you really?
it. Announced it. And then there was a winter meeting
Didn't that ruin your relationship with baseball, Bud?
for a while. Yeah, it did. And but I was at a winter meeting, I think, after the contraction. And Bud called me in, and I ripped the hell out of Bud and ripped everybody. Because that was in October. And then this was a owners meeting later,
Yes.
like a month later.
Sounds like it, yeah.
And Bud called me into the room, and the conference room was this enormous room, right?
Yep.
And I was sitting in there, and Bud kept walking with he still had the Tipperellos going then, and walked all around the room, giving me a big, he wasn't, going nuts or anything, but he basically was telling me, listen, this is a strategy to try to get a ballpark in Minnesota, and Carl wanted us to do this to try to, get some action going. Well, it still took another decade. So
Yeah, it
or,
did.
no, well, it took till 06 to get it approved. So, but Bud, I told you the Bud story, right?
Well, there's a lot of Bud Selig stories.
But the one about him and Tom Hardercourt, who's the longtime ball writer for the Brewers.
Yeah.
And Bud has a nice home out there in some development on the shore.
Yeah.
And Hardercourt lives in the back, and his wife has a good job, but in a
They're across the street.
townhouse or something, same complex but back.
Yeah.
But they got in the habit of taking Sunday morning walks through this quiet neighborhood.
Right.
And Bud can get a real foul mouth out of him when he's telling stories. But his punchline is always, as George Bamberger would say, bleeping, bleeping, bleeper, bleep, as because Bambi was his manager for a while, as George Bamberger would say. So they're walking out there one day about 3 summers ago, and this guy on the porch, this 85-year-old guy on the porch says, I'm sick of you two guys coming by here every Sunday morning at 10 o'clock with your foul mouth swearing. He didn't know Selig. And Hardercourt says to him, we didn't do that. We weren't swearing. It was George Bamberger who was. We weren't the ones swearing.
Who was the ball writer in Milwaukee who became an attorney?
Mike Gonring.
Gonring,
Mike
yes.
Gonring, yes,
Yes.
became attorney. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good friend of mine.
Well, it's a friend of mine.
Yeah.
And he became a lawyer.
Yeah, he did. Very
For what kind of
successful. You
law?
can look him up. He's retired now,
he?
but he had a firm that he was a longtime partner in.
Really?
Did extremely well, yes. Great guy.
What practice? And what type of?
I think it was more corporate. I'm not sure, though. Yeah, but he went to Marquette and became a.
Well, was it car leasing? What was their family business?
Who?
Selig.
Bud?
Is that who you're
Selig was a
Cars.
owned a car dealership.
That's what I thought,
Yeah,
okay.
he just headed the group trying to get Major League Baseball back in Milwaukee. They had no money. They had some guy named Fitzgerald with the money, but Bud slowly through the years bought
Okay.
it. Bought it over. But he's an amazing success story from owning an Oldsmobile dealership to being the commissioner, of baseball.
Is he still with us?
Oh yeah. He's still doing
Did we
okay.
ever have him on?
I think we might have a time or
Okay,
two.
because I'm trying to recall if we did.
Yeah,
or maybe
we
you
could
did when
always
you were
do-
with
You had to
Mackie.
have,
We
yeah.
could always get him on. Yeah, if we wanted him. He was, he got, last time I was in Milwaukee to see, I was for another deal earlier this year, but when I was there to do
For the opera?
Euchre column, for Bocelli, but when I was there to try to do a column on Euchre during the pandemic with the Twins, I went for that Twins series, and Bud heard that I was in town and got a hold of me And I said, yeah, we went out to Gillies yesterday for lunch. And he said, why didn't you call me? I would have been there at the same time because this like frozen custard stand out on 70th and Blue Mound. Bud goes there lunch for 4 days a week to eat 2 Coney Islands.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah.
With the thing.
Damn.
And walks out. Yeah. He's a
take a Coney
small
right
town guy who made a lot of money.
Good for him.
Yes. So
I did say, though, because I remember I might have even been listening to you guys because I was in school when the contraction talk had started, and I said, if they contract the Twins, because I told Jess, I will never watch baseball again.
Yes,
and she
right.
said, BS.
Yeah, you're full of crap.
I remember him coming in. Remember when they had this was before you guys' time, but in the 70s when the whole drug thing was popping, and the Brewers had, Molly was in on the cocaine part of it, but they had a trial in Milwaukee and a bunch of Brewers but one day he comes into that he used to make 2 trips through the little press box every game to taunt if Bud Lee was there for Milwaukee. Well, the Packers don't have a third-team guard to write about today, Bud, or something, Bud Lee. And he'd just have all these smart-ass remarks. But they were kicking the ball around one day. Darryl Porter and the Pedro, whatever his name is, second baseman, and he comes in and says, these guys are all a bunch of drug addicts. And he's the owner, with a Tipperelli and a Tipperello going. And, you could trust us back then, because we were all newspaper guys.
Right.
And didn't have to worry about some blogger being in there.
Who's recording us? Yeah.
Bud Selig says all his players are drug addicts.
No, because you just knew that was Bud.
Yeah, right. It was just.
It wasn't a story.
No, it wasn't.
Would be today.
Say, I found out, speaking of Bud, son Mike has been asking me if Bud would be the oldest NBA champion. Says, I think he's now 94. And, he played with the Lakers when they won titles in
I bet he is.
49 and 51. I had to break the news to him.
No.
Arnie Farron was a
Really?
teammate of his at 96.
Really?
And Arnie is from Utah,
Yeah.
which probably makes him a Mormon, which probably means Bud will have to live to be about 110 to beat out Arnie. 'Cause those
Which Bud might very well do.
Yes, he might. But, those Mormons don't elect somebody the president of the church until they're about 85. So they expect to live long lives. But Bud is not. Arnie Farron must be. He's 96. He's 2 years older than Bud.
I was going to go to the bank, but I forgot to bring the stuff I needed to take to the bank.
I went to the bank this morning.
Did you?
Yes.
I forgot my stuff.
Ruck, how about you? Did you go to the bank?
I am going to the bank after. I'm going to the credit union right after this, yes, to tell you the truth. Not even joking about that.
The bank, I must have somewhere in my possession scattered about 25 masks. And I got to the bank today, mask required, didn't have a mask.
No.
Couldn't find one in the entire vehicle.
I was at the bank last week, and do you know what I got from the teller?
A mask.
I see it's your birthday this week. I went, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very
What, do you have plans?
No, that she saw it on my profile.
I know, but I mean, she would have said, do you have plans?
Oh, I was
plans,
waiting for that to come next.
Yeah,
But she could
plans
tell
for
I
the
was not
weekend?
interested in conversation. Just please,
Well, she said you a happy birthday.
please
What the-
deposit the check and let's
Yes.
move about our day.
Yeah,
That's why I'm here driving 4 hours out of my way so I don't have to go home and converse with my wife.
It
I
is
was making my
amazing.
deposit in Wyndham.
It is amazing, though. This started, 10, 12 years ago when they got consultants to
Oh,
come
yeah.
in. Every
Personal communication.
Every company said, make small conversation with your...
I don't want to do it.
No. That's nice, the full employment thing, like at Super America now, or whatever we call it, whatever it is.
Speedway.
We're back so that the properly trained, how are you doing today, people... Yeah, they're gone.
Yeah.
You now have the guy who doesn't speak to you.
What was Kenny's line, Joe? Kenny said something effective. When I'm ever asked that, I just say, I'm dying of syphilis. How about you?
Well, good luck with that. What's coming up on the ride?
I was at Speedway Sunday ago.
Yes.
And because I gave up on the paper
I was
guy.
going to say, was your newspaper guy there with a couple of roller dogs?
2 roller dogs. He left just as I was showing up to buy the Sunday papers.
Makes you hungry for conies.
Oh, he comes in for the roller.
10 o'clock in the morning. I should have had the paper at 8. I gave up. I went to Speedway
He's
to
at
get the
10 o'clock.
papers.
Yeah, I got a bad note in my Sunday paper.
Oh, no.
Clipped into my Sunday paper. Our weekend guy, who's got the paper there at 5:30 on Saturdays and Sundays, left me a note and said, this is my last weekend delivering the paper. Thank you for your kindness, which means I gave him a 20 every once in a while. When
Accepting
I saw him.
early Christmas tips now before
Yeah,
I'm
well,
done.
he didn't have an envelope there or
he didn't?
anything because it
Okay.
was his last day. But
Now, who do you got, I wonder?
Well, that's going to be the big mystery. We might have a roller dog guy.
Gotta
He
get
might
the
be
roller dog.
switching
Oh,
paper.
God. Love that.
Yeah. I had one my week. I hope we get my Monday through Friday guy, because the other day I got up and did what an old guy does at 3:30 in the morning. You know,
Yeah.
checked paper.
You're kidding.
3:40 in the morning.
You're kidding.
3:40 in the morning. Fantastic.
I'm lucky to get them at 8 on weekdays, 9:30 on Saturdays, 10:30 on
The
Sundays.
same guy.
Roller Dog Mike.
He gets it coming home from church.
When you run into Roller Dog Mike, do you ever say anything? Or are you
The
afraid
most he's
to-
ever said is, I suppose I could start at the other end of town sometime, give you a break. And I said, I wish you would. And that
Or-
hasn't happened yet.
Or how about doing what paper boys and girls have done since the age of time? Start at 4:30 in the morning.
Yes.
Get up early in the dark.
Then you come home and take a nap.
And if it's raining or snowing, you got no shot.
I had the guy for years on the weekday guy that if the Vikings had a night game, you had no shot till about 10 in the morning because he was hungover. He'd go to some bar and watch the game, because that guy, you could always say, where the hell's the paper? And oh, that's right, they had a night game last night.
My favorite story about how newspapers really meant something once was covering a game in Oakland, football,
Yes.
taking the red eye home, walking up my sidewalk at 5
was the
a.m.
paper.
and the column I had written 3
Yes.
hours before
Sitting
was
there.
sitting there waiting for
That
me.
is heaven.
Wow.
That is heaven right
I
there.
understand it now, but back then, no.
I was marveling. I was marveling.
So when you covered that game, did you bring the notepad and a pencil?
No, I think by then I probably had a computer.
My favorite story on that is Barry Lorge. Well, did you know him? San Diego. He was a columnist at San Diego. He was at the Post, and then he went out to San Diego, and he was very precise, pretty good, but slow.
Yeah.
Notoriously slow. They had a game in Baltimore, and Jerry McGee was the old ball writer for the old football writer for San Diego for years, and he cranked it out, went to the airport, flew to San Diego,
Yep.
called the office on the payphone when he got to the airport.
Yep.
And they said, yeah, your stuff's fine. You know when Lorge is going to file? The guy went to the airport,
Oh, my God.
flew to San Diego, and Lorge hadn't written his column yet.
Okay, now you got me thinking about Gary Libman.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
He's covering a double head. I think Boston used to play a doubleheader on the day of the Boston
I believe
Marathon.
it was single game. But
Single
it started
game.
at 11 in the morning.
Started at 11 in the morning.
Freedom Day?
He had to climb out the stadium and scale down the fence to get back to the
I
street.
was on that trip with you. Yeah.
And he had filed about 2 paragraphs.
Yeah. I think we were Sportscom by then, where they sent it on the Xerox machine. And that guy saw me the next day. He said, "Geez, who is that?
Yeah.
Who the bleep is this guy?" Because he knew me from trips previously.
One more great story. I've told it many times, but Twins are in Milwaukee and took a loss. And you know how Mock was after a loss.
Yes.
Just furious.
Didn't like to lose.
Red-faced and gritting his teeth, and all the reporters are standing around. Nobody had the nerve to ask him. Nobody wanted to be the icebreaker.
Yeah.
And Libman says, Gene, is the bus leaving from gate A or B today? He's ours and we ain't trading.
Yeah, right. Then he also used that one when they were playing cards.
Yeah,
in the
and
aisle at the
Libman
bus.
tripped over everybody and knocked all the cards on the floor.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the bank.
All right, that's good enough.
Yeah, I think so.
Monday Night Sports Talk. How many editions since we returned?
No
here?
idea, but we were classy
I
today.
will tell you right
We were
now.
classy
I'll
today.
tell you right now.
The
Here it is.
pregame show lacked a little class.
Yes, it did.
But the actual content was very classy.
Monday Night Sports Talk has got released. Let's see. What is our latest? Well, we went down.
We're close to 100, I think. We got to be close to 100.
We are. Okay, it's downloading. Podcast1.com, everybody.
Okay.
Episodes. Where's the episode number?
We're not even important enough to have a number, huh?
It says recent episodes downloads today, 145.
This is 101.
101.
Episode 101.
Last
Where do
week
you see
was
that?
100, and we didn't even celebrate.
And I forgot to. Yeah.
Is it
Last
overview?
week was 100.
Yeah.
700 to go, and you're almost up to
EcoFun has e-bikes in stock. And why is that important? Because every other bike retailer is out of stock and will not be getting new e-bikes until December or January. You can't even get one for Christmas from them. The weather is warming up, so if you are in the market for an e-bike, scooter, or ATV, go to EcoFun right now. EcoFun Motorsports in Forest Lake. Talk with Tim Bloom, the owner of EcoFun Motorsports in Forest Lake. Tim and his family will help you select the e-bike that is right for you, and they will deliver it to your front door in the metro area. Right now, EcoFun has Bentelli e-bikes and Yamaha Motor Assist bikes in stock. EcoFun also carries the full line of Yamaha scooters, motorcycles, and a wide variety of Yamaha ATVs, including ATVs for kids. Check out EcoFun Motorsports in Forest Lake and online at ecofunmotorsports.com and tell Tim that old bicycler Patrick Racy sent you.
Hey, GLers, it's Reavers here once again for Mr. Money Talk, Josh Arnold. And as you've been hearing over the course of the last couple of months, Josh asks you one simple question, and that's always, do you know what you own? You see, Josh's clients, they always know what they own, and Josh has found that most people that he meets with every single day, well, they don't. They absolutely have no idea. Josh has also seen retirement portfolios that have a big percentage in bonds, and there are real instances of people paying more in commissions and fees than they can possibly make on the rate of return that those bonds currently yield. So Josh begs of you, know what you own. And you'll hear from Mr. Money Talk later today here in Garage Logic to give you a specialized report on the goings-on in the market today. Trust is often overused, and it's even harder to find. Please, you can take it from me that you can trust Josh. So give him a call today for that free 48-minute financial consultation, and you do so by calling 952-925-5608. Once again, that's 952-925-5608 for Mr. Money Talk, Josh Arnold.
This is Patrick Racy for The Canopy Group. Your kids are back in school, and when they get home, they do their homework, or they're supposed to do their homework. Why don't you do your homework? You have been with that same home and auto insurance company that has only one agent who represents only one insurance company for years. You deserve options. Let's face it, your insurance needs change as the years go by. Insurance companies' rates certainly change as the years go by. That is why the Canopy Group provides you with 16 options, not 16. Don't tell your kids, but you can outsource your homework to the Canopy Group. They will teach you how they find the best insurance coverage for the best price, not only today, but each and every year. Contact the Canopy Group at 800-967-3389 or visit thecanopygroup.com and let them do the homework for you.